top tips for making stews in the Instant Pot. Tip number 1 is to choose the most simple recipe and then move on to some of those more complicated recipes you might have been eyeing up on social media. Tip number 2, which is the golden liquid rule when pressure cooking. Reduce the amount in a traditional recipe by 1/3. So tip number 3 is to get this inner stainless steel pot preheated before you start to cook. But don't worry, because the Instant Pot has got your back here and it actually preheats automatically. So to start off the meat, we're going to saute it in the inner pot. Now here's where many of us go wrong. What we don't want to do is tip it all in at once. Work in batches and just put so much in at a time so there's a little bit of space between the pieces of meat, and that way you will get lovely browned meat rather than a kind of grey steam meat, which is pretty awful. Tip number 5. The deglaze dance. I'm going to take a bit of this stock and give it a good old stir to get rid of all of these brown bits on the bottom. That's what you're looking for when we talk about deglazing. It must all come off. Tip number 6 is all about layering. We've got our veg on the bottom there, and I'm going to add in our meat as a top layer. Now let's talk about tip number 7, which is the tomato trap. If your stew calls for a can of tomatoes or tomato puree, they are notorious for causing the burn notice. If the liquid is too thick, there's too much sticky on the bottom, it will start to burn. So I'm going to take my tomato puree and I'm just going to put it on the top. So tip number 8 is all about timing. So we pressure cook it on high. In this case, we're doing it for 25 minutes. But then crucially, we're going to just the Instant Pot do a natural release and let that meat kind of ease on down. So I don't have to do any thickening on this version. But if you've been experimenting and yours has come out a little bit runny, a little watery, let's talk about tip number 9. Just pop your Instant Pot onto saute and let it bubble away for a few minutes. Keep stirring and then stop it once it's got to that perfect gravy consistency that you like. Or another way you could do it is to make a corn flour slurry and just drop it into your stew, get that saute button on, stir, 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 and it will quickly thicken up. But what if I'd opened this up and it was too thick? Well, that one's a bit easier, isn't it? You can just press that saute button, add in a little bit of extra stock or another liquid, stir it in, reheat it, and off you go. Now that is a beef stew.